Go Knights, go! 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 Hello, Knight fans out there, and good day to you. This is another edition of Knights This Week with your super host and fan, Jason Banks, here coming at you again for another weekly recap of the hottest junior team around, the best Friday night hockey you can get anywhere, and that is your London Knights here on Knights This Week. So on Knights This Week, we have 3 games to cap up for you from last weekend. That would be last Friday night and going into the long Family Day weekend here in Canada and here on Ontario especially. So we got 3 games to cap for you. And the first game isn't going to take too much time. I may have actually alluded to that first game already last week on Knights This Week. Not going to spend too much time looking at it, but I am going to give you a bit of an illustration with help from a friend of mine here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use visual aids in this Knights This Week, so I hope you enjoy that. My first visual aid, of course, is always my weekly shirt. So this is the shirt I'm wearing this week. It just simply says London Knights OHL Champions, which they have been 4 times in their history of being around the league. And this shirt actually comes from their first OHL championship back in 2005. So it was their very first OHL championship in 2005. And they had some team that year. Oh my goodness, did they have an amazing team that year. It was almost like the junior hockey dream team that year. London Knights were actually, they had already, before the season had started, they had already been awarded the right to host the Memorial Cup at the fairly new John Labatt Center. It's not the John Labatt Center anymore, they've renamed it, but that is, they were hosting the Memorial Cup, and they came within a whisker the previous year. They came within a whisker of getting to the OHL final the previous year and probably would have won the OHL final that year. But they got beat by a very good Guelph Storm team. So this was a new year, and they were hosting the Memorial Cup, already guaranteed to be in the Cup. But boy, did they blow their way right through the front door, and they won the OHL championship that year. And this is a shirt from that year, OHL Champions 2005. It actually was my grandpa's t-shirt. I gave it to my grandpa as a gift. My grandpa, about a year later, passed away after that. So I kind of gave it to myself again. When we went through his stuff, it was a shirt I liked. Obviously, I'm a Knights fan, so I took the shirt. So this is the history on this shirt this week. By the way, that year, the London Knights, no team has ever matched their records they came to. They broke several records on their regular season. They only lost 9 games the entire season, and that's including the playoffs. So they lost 7 in the regular season, lost 2 in the playoffs, and that is all they lost all year long. It was some kind of team. And I was hoping to be at the Memorial Cup that year. I was unfortunate enough not to be able to get selected for tickets. I was hoping to go to the championship game. I tried my best to get tickets for that, but could not. I actually, though, was very blessed to go to the game where they won the OHL championship, their first ever in franchise history, and it was a very, very special, emotional night indeed for all of us Knight fans. And downtown was absolutely a party zone after that game. It was amazing. Cars lined up and down the street honking their horn, people standing outside John Labatt Center waving flags, and news people were down there. It was really awesome. Me and my friend were at that game, and the game was special to take in, and then the after street atmosphere was something else. So that is the shirt I'm wearing this week, 2005 OHL Champions. All right, let's get to the games this week, shall we? I'm going to jump right into them. And let's start out with last Friday night. Last Friday night at Budweiser Gardens, the London Knights were hosting the Owen Sound Attack. So their fifth meeting of the year, they had split their previous 4 games that they had played each other. And the London Knights, the last time they played them at home, they played a very, very good, complete hockey game and knocking off a very good Owen Sound Attack team. So, could they do it again? Well, the short answer on that question is no, they absolutely could not. It had to be one of their worst home games of the year. I can't recall a home game where they played any worse than they did that night. And not really worth the time to go into that game because the London Knights got absolutely crushed by the Owen Sound Attack. They got beat 6-1. Not a very good game for your London Knights last Friday night. At the time, after that win, Owen Sound moved within a point of the London Knights in the standings. And Tyler Johnson was starting in net, and Tyler Johnson again had another very poor game for the London Knights, not being able to really make the stops he needed to make. And the Owen Sound Attack came in, played a very textile road game, and came away with the victory. Well deserved. And as I said, I'm not going to go too much into the details of this game, other than a little illustration that happened near the end of the game. Okay, so let me just bring this up here. Let me see if I can bring this up. Yes, here we go. So the Owen Sound Attack beat the London Knights 6-1. But give the London Knights a little bit of credit. They did outshoot Owen Sound on the night 30-27. Michael McNiven in net, and Michael McNiven was on top of his game. Tyler Johnson was not on top of his game, anything close to on top of his game. And so that was the score in the game. London Knights had 5 power plays. They only scored on 1 of them, and that goal was a significant mark because it was Cliff Pooh who got it, and it was his 30th goal of the year. Came early on in the second to actually tie the game up at the time, 1-1. Looked like it would be a good game after that point, but the wheels completely fell off after that point, and it was all Owen Sound. And so, London Knights only 1 for 5 on the power play. Owen Sound was 3 for 4. So, power play really a huge difference in this game, as was goaltending for one side, non-goaltending for the other side. Owen Sound got goals from Nick Suzuki, Kevin Hancock, Sebastian Centoroni, who used to be a London Knight. He's turned into a very good player in this league, a very good offensive-minded defenseman who can take care of his own end. Now, what came in between Kevin Hancock's goal and Sebastian Centoroni's goal was a natural hat trick by the Owen Sound Attack, and that came courtesy of Jonah Gadjevich. So, Jonah Gadjevich got a goal in the second and got 2 goals in the third, all in a row, so he got himself a little hat trick on the night. Now, what I'm going to do here is illustrate something here with my hockey stick, okay? So this is my hockey stick here. So, after it made it 5-1 at the time when Jonah Gadjevich got his hat trick, and Max Jones at the London Knights didn't take too kindly to that. The player had a great game. He got a hat trick. Your team is playing very poorly. What's the excuse for this? Why do this? It's rather stupid. But he didn't like Jonah Gadjevich getting the hat trick. And after Jonah Gadjevich got the hat trick, okay, let's pretend this is Jonah Gadjevich here. Okay, so Jonah Gadjevich got the hat trick. Yeah, woo, celebrating a hat trick. Along came Max Jones, and Max Jones took a stick, and this is pretty much what he did. Took a stick and chopped him right in the mouth. So Max Jones took a stick and chopped Mr. Jonah Gadjevich right in the mouth. Max Jones got thrown out of the game, got a 5-minute major penalty for his little selfish temper tantrum. And Owen Sound would actually get another goal as a result of that power play. Not that it really mattered much at that point, but Max Jones got thrown out. And obviously, when you do something like that, it's an automatic suspension. I went to the league board, and the league looked at it and decided that, there we go, that's better. The league decided that that was good for 10 games. I'm going to throw Max Jones a 10-game suspension. And considering it was so blatant, took the stick right in his mouth, 10 games, it's a little surprising to me because I actually thought it would be twice as more. I was estimating about a 20-game suspension for Mr. Jones because he did actually get a 12-game suspension in the playoffs last year for something that was even, it looked like something that was even least worse than that. So Max Jones got a 10-game suspension. I think Max Jones ought to be very thankful and very lucky he only got 10 games. And let's hope. I don't know whether it would teach him anything, but this kid has got to get his head on right. He has had several issues with selfish penalties already in his career, including the suspension last year, now this one, and just major penalties that he takes, it seems like a lot. He's got a lot of talent. He's got a tremendous talent. He's really great on penalty kills, but this kid has got to somebody's got to rein this kid in before his career gets wrecked. Max Jones has got to smarten up and start playing like a team player. So, Max Jones got 10 games. So, because of that, he got 10 games. So, Max Jones, hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more. Hit the road, Max. See you in 10 games. Yes. See you in 10 games, Max. Hit the road. And bad boys, what you gonna do when they come for you? Well, when you're a bad boy, you get thrown a 10-game suspension, Mr. Jones. So Mr. Jones is gone for 10 games. So he actually will be able to play the last couple of games in the regular season, which is really quite surprising because I thought he would be done for the regular season. But Max Jones out for 10 games. So considering what I just said, hit the road, Jack, this is a fine time actually to bring us into our next topic of discussion and nights this week. And that was after this horrendous game on home ice. It is a good time to hit the road. And that's exactly what your on the Knights did as they go on a road trip. And this is a far road trip. I've even brought along a little atlas to show you where exactly how far it was. So, let me bring up my atlas here for you. And then I even got a cool sound effect. So, here we go. We're going on a road trip, boys and girls. We're headed out on the highway here. It's going to be a long drive out here on the highway because we're going way up east. And our first stop on this road trip is going to be in Kingston, Ontario. So here we go. We're going to Kingston, Ontario on a little road trip. And, I'm going to try to show you here. There we go. I got to bring up Kingston. So that's where we're headed, Kingston right there on our first stop. And as you can see, London is all the way down here. So, London to Kingston. A pretty long road trip for the boys. And they went out on the road probably pretty early on a Sunday, or maybe they even went down on the Saturday, I don't know. But to play the Kingston Frontenacs. So, let's see how they did in Kingston here. And the really big news about this game, as they head out on a road trip. The really big news is a return of a hero. Yes, the London Knights finally got one of their long-term injury players back up off the shelf, and welcome back into the lineup, Mr. Victor Mete. Victor Mete back in the lineup in this game. Victor Mete had missed 15 games after that injury he had suffered with getting the puck in the ear, but he was back in the lineup, so a welcome relief, a welcome sight for the London Knights to see such a valuable part of their team and a valuable cog on their defense back in the lineup. So Victor Mete, yes, Victor Mete, welcome back. Welcome back, Victor Mete, to the lineup. We're very glad that you're here and back in the lineup. And we also want to make sure that we cheer very loudly for Victor Mete because he is a very valuable part of this team. And it's great to have him back here in the lineup here on a Sunday afternoon in Kingston. And I'm just waiting for my computer here. Sorry. There we go. There comes the applause. Victor Mete back in the lineup for your London Knights here in this one against the against the Kingston Frontenacs. Let's see how this game goes here in Kingston here on this day. And after the very bad game against Owen Sound on Friday night, a lot of fans were lobbying for it, and they certainly got it. A lot of people wanted to see Jordan Coy in net because of how poorly Tyler Johnson had been playing. And what do you know? Jordan Coy is in net to start this game against the Kingston Frontenacs. So that's awesome in itself. So Jordan Coy in net, Victor Mete back in the lineup. Let's see how this game goes. Well, Victor Mete doesn't take very long at all to make his presence felt because at the 14:07 mark, he assisted on a goal. Yes, Victor Mete assisted on a goal at 14:07, and the goal scorer was Cliff Poo. He got his 31st goal of the season. Oli Jalevi and Victor Mete assisted on a power play goal at 14:07 to make it a 1-0 lead for your London Knights in this one over the Kingston Frontenacs. And then Victor Mete decided he just didn't want an assist. He wanted to jump right in and get credit for a goal. So 16:34, just a little over 2 minutes later, he was awarded a penalty shot. Victor Mete his hard play and hustle resulted in a penalty shot. Victor Mete went in and he scored on it, his 12th goal of the season. Game-winning goal, actually. So, you know how valuable Victor Mete is? He is incredibly valuable, and this is why we need him in the lineup. He got his 12th goal of the season at 16:34 on a penalty shot. Game-winning goal, 2-0 for your London Knights. And this is after one period of play in Kingston. In the second period of play, Brandon Crawley, another defenseman, he really loves to jump in on the play. He is a great player on jumping up. He loves to do that. Well, he did exactly that as Brandon Crawley at the 16:34 mark got his 6th goal of the season. Yeah, we can clap for him too. Brandon Crawley got his 6th goal of the season from Alex Vermitten and Robert Thomas at 16:34 to make a 3-0 for your London Knights after 2 periods of play. So the London Knights playing a very good game in Kingston on this one. Jordan Coy playing a very good game because Jordan Coy actually had to make some good stops in the second period, especially as London was outshot in the second 17-9. London did outshoot Kingston in the first 14-7. So in the third period, we go with a 3-0 lead for the London Knights. And in the third period, Kingston would break the goose egg. Ryan Cranford got his 7th goal of the season from Cal Davis and Sam Harding at 5:34 to make it 3-1. But just a little under a minute later, the London Knights would regain their 3-goal lead. Yanni Kaukonen got his 21st goal of the season from Ole Jalevi and Liam Foodie at 6:30 of the third. And that was all the scoring that took place in this game. That was all the London Knights needed as they win this game 4-1. So a nice bounce back win for the London Knights. They really needed it with Owen Sound breathing down their necks for that third spot in the conference. And they got a really big win that they needed to get. Played a pretty good game. In the third period, they did own the shots again, the London Knights. And in the third period, the shots were 13-9 for the London Knights, 36-33 overall for the London Knights. And the London Knights, actually, after suffering, I should point this out, after the Owen Sound game, it was the first time all year long that the London Knights had lost back-to-back regulation games. But they quickly nipped that in the bud. They didn't let it get to 3, and they played a pretty complete game. A 4-1 victory for your London Knights over the Kingston Frontenacs, as the Knights would get back in the win column at the Kingston K-Rock Center in Kingston. The 3 stars of this game, let's get to the 3 stars. The third star was from the Kingston Frontenacs. That was the goal scorer for the Kingston Frontenacs, Ryan Cranford. He was the third star. Second star, welcome back again, Victor Mete. He had an outstanding game. He's been out 15 games. He sure didn't look like he missed a beat. He was really good on this game. Got the goal and an assist. Victor Mete, second star of the game. And the first star of the game goes to the goaltender at the London Knights, the young 16-year-old goaltender who continues to hold his own in the net, and that is Jordan Coy. Jordan Coy gets the first star of the game as the London Knights defeat the Kingston Frontenacs 4-1 to get back in the win column. So the London Knights played pretty good after their horrible game against Owen Sound. So this road trip will continue, and let's get back to the map here, because we're going further yet on this road trip. We continue to go along on the bus. Okay, where are we going now? Yes. So let me see if I can bring this up. Okay, so there's Kingston down there. There's Kingston. So now we're going up here to Ottawa. Yeah, so we're even going further east here as the boys get a hotel room overnight in Kingston and head on up to Ottawa on the family day for a family day matinee at TD Center in Ottawa. So let's see how this game turns out, and let's go through the summary for this game. So the London Knights go into Ottawa to play a team again that they should be beating, because Ottawa is pretty low in the standings, and they get behind early in this one. And actually, Jordan Coy starts this game in net as well for your London Knights. So he's getting another valuable start, and the 16-year-old goaltender, see what he can do in this one. But doesn't start out very good, as only 4:10 into the first period. The Ottawa 67s got on the scoreboard. Mitchell Hosser got only his second goal of the season from Matthew Forget and Austin Keating at 4:10 to give the Ottawa 67s a 1-0 lead. And that was the end. That was the only goal in the first period. Shots on goal in that game, and that period were 7-6 in favor of your London Knights. But 1-0 to score in favor of the Ottawa 67s. So let's go to the second now in this one. And the second period, the London Knights would actually get back into the game at 7:03. The London Knights would tie it when Alex Formenton, the young really solid rookie. And man, he's going to be in this league again next year, and he's going to be even that much better. Kind of reminds me of last year's Robert Thomas, but he got his 14th goal of the season from Evan Bouchard at 7:03, ties it up at 1. And then before the end of the second, as the second period is getting down to the last 2 minutes, the London Knights would actually go ahead when the guy who got the assist on the previous goal, Evan Bouchard, decided to score his own goal. Evan Bouchard, again, another really great young player that the Knights have, and he's going to be even that much more valuable next year. Evan Bouchard got his 9th goal of the season from Mitchell Stevens at 17:54 to make it a 2-1 game for the London Knights at the end of 2 periods of play in Ottawa. The shots on net in the second period read 12-5 in favor of the London Knights. So London Knights playing a pretty good game in this one as well, but just have that 1-goal lead after 2 periods of play. Let's go to the third, where the Ottawa 67s, they may be lower in the standings, but they're very stubborn and very pesky. They would tie it up at the 7:09 mark in the third when Arthur Tillanen got his 21st goal of the season from Noah Haffenmeyer and Ryan Orban at 7:09, 2-2 at that point in the third period. Cliff Pugh continues to do great for the London Knights as Cliff Pugh got his 32nd goal of the season at the 11:37 mark of the third to put the London Knights back ahead. Came from Robert Thomas and J.J. Pickenidge, the game-winning goal actually at 11:37, made it 3-2. And then the net's empty. Ottawa's trying to tie it. And with just 1 second left in the game, you gotta love these goals with the empty net and just a second left on the clock, you get a goal. But anyway, Robert Thomas got his 15th goal of the season from Cliff Pugh with the empty net, 19:59 at the third. So, as a result, your London Knights win the game 4-2. So, they win in Kingston 4-1. They win in Ottawa 4-2. Shots on net in the third period read 10-8 in favor of Ottawa, 27-21 overall in favor of the London Knights. So they picked up 2 really important wins and 4 important points on the road up east over teams that probably they should be beating. But nevertheless, a win is a win, and they got the big win. And the London Knights would actually bounce back from that horrible Owen Sound game to get 2 wins after that on the weekend. So the London Knights get back in the win column. The stars of this game read like this. The third star from the London Knights, Cliff Pugh. He got, let's see, how did Cliff Pugh do on this night? Cliff Pugh got a goal and an assist. So he's certainly not on the pace that he was at the beginning of the season, but he certainly is starting to pick it up a bit here. Let's see if Cliff Pugh can get back to that early season form he had, because the Knights are going to need him to get back to that form to be successful and to go on a long run. So Cliff Pugh, the third star. Arthur Tillanen gets the second star for the Ottawa 67s. He had the 1 goal in the game. And then Evan Bouchard, the youngster for the London Knights, who I might add actually got Scholastic Honors of the Year. That was just awarded yesterday. Apparently he's got a 97, I think a 93% grade in school right now. So good on you, Evan Bouchard. Keeping your nose in the books, and you're also playing good hockey. Got a goal and an assist on this evening, and he's the first star from the London Knights. So, the London Knights went on a pretty successful road trip all in all. Got 2 wins, 4 points, and then they made the long trip back home. Yeah, I've been to Ottawa. That's a long haul back home, but sure they got back pretty late and got some rest the next day. But London Knights now done with teams in the Eastern Conference. It's all West from here on end. And let's see how they do in their final 12 games. That's all the games they have left in the regular season is just 12. 12 games left in the regular season for your London Knights. Now, as I always do, I want to bring you an updated version of the standings. This was going into last night's games, of course, as I always do. So, let's take a look at this, shall we? And let's take a look first at the London Knights record. The London Knights, there you see their record at the top. They are 38, 11, 3, and 4 for 83 points. So that's their record with 12 games left to go. Some of those games are of the hard variety as well. We still got 2 games left against Erie. We got a game left against Owen Sound. We got 2 games left, although technically 1 now because one of those games was played last night. 2 against Windsor. 1 against Sault Ste. Marie. And then they got a couple games against Flint. Game against Kitchener. Am I missing anybody in that mix? 3 games against Guelph. So actually Guelph is at the bottom of the standings. Should be easy wins, but you don't know about these games. And can't overlook the Guelph Storm, as one of the top teams actually did last night overlook them and bit them in the butt. So, but that's their record right now. And let's take a look at the OHL standings in the Western Conference. And the Erie Otters right up there at the top. They are on some kind of roll right now. They've actually won 14 straight games, the Erie Otters. Looking very scary, the Erie Otters. And if there's any team, any year if there's any year it might be their year, it might be this year. I'm still saying that possibly. But Erie with 89 points. The Soo Greyhounds in that second spot. In the other division with 81 points, although only 1 point up on the Windsor Spitfires for the division lead. So that could be a division that goes right down the wire. Soo Greyhounds currently with that second seed. London Knights are in the third seed right now, which isn't a bad spot to be in, I don't think, in the conference. I think you want to be in that spot. Obviously, you want to be in first, but if you can't be, third's not bad, because I don't think you want to be in that 4 or 5 hole going into the playoffs. It's not a good spot to be in. And then Owen Sound there with 81 points, still right in there in the race. And Windsor with 80 and 5th spot in the Western Conference. Now, in terms of the CHL rankings, let's take a look at these quickly, shall we? See where things are. And actually, we got big news here for the CHL rankings. We got a big change on top. And I guess when you're on a 14-game winning streak, when you're pretty much dominating teams in that streak, that will put you at the top. And that new number 1 ranked team in the CHL is the Erie Otters. So they actually are ranked right up there. They've moved up from 2 to 1. Regina's dropped down from 1 to 2, and they held that 1 spot for a good number of weeks too. The St. John Sea Dogs have jumped up to the 3 spot out from the Quebec League. So I don't know where those guys have come from, but they have moved up to 3. London Knights now 4. Soo Greyhounds are 5. And anything else beyond that, the Owen Sound Attack are ranked 8th. So that's the significant part of about the OHL anyway. That's where teams are standing. So that's where we are right now with 12 games to go in the regular season. Now, I did this as fun too. This is quite an interesting stat. Max Jones has only played 29 games this year, and when he comes back, there's 2 games left in the regular season, so that would be 31. So Max Jones won't even play half the games this regular season. That's crazy. To think that he would be playing less than half the games all season, I don't think anybody would have predicted that. What's more crazier is Tyler Parsons, the All-Star starting goaltender, has only played 26. So far, he's only played 46% of the season. again, that is quite a shocker too. Victor Mete, with all the games he missed, now has only played 68% of the season as well. So, when you consider all those things, a lot of Knights are still, the second best team in the OHL behind the Erie Otters. Got an outside shot at catching the Erie Otters for top spot. Not likely, but an outside shot. And considering that all the man games they've lost with those three players, that's pretty good. And you still have to wonder if this team has a healthy Parsons and everybody healthy when the playoffs starts and everybody on the same page, most importantly. You have to wonder how good this team is. This team definitely on paper still has a good chance to win it all. But let's hope that they finally get over all the injury bugs once the playoffs start and we got a full healthy lineup going all the rest of the way, because that's going to be key. So that is an update, and that has been Knights this week. That has been everything I want to tell you about on Knights this week. So the Knights played a poor game Friday, but bounced back with two good games. On Knights this week. Next week, we're going to cap 3 games again. They got a 3-game weekend, 3 games in 3 days. Going to be a busy week for the London Knights. But we'll see how they do with this stretch of games next week. So let's see. Like I do at the end of every show, I always like to do this. So we're going to do it again, folks. And this is what we're going to do. Obviously, I love to do this at the end of every episode here. Do 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 do. So thank you again for coming to Knights this week and watching my show. Next week, we have another road trip we're going on, but not as long as this week, the Eastern road trip. It's a little bit of a shorter road trip. But thank you for watching. And please come back and watch my videos. They are good. Come on. You can't deny that they're not good. So, until next week, go Knights, go. And we'll see you next week on Knights This Week.